Yo, 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 yo!
Wrestling fans, are you ready? You better get those Magusta pops. It's time for all the Kayfabe.
Oh, me gusta.
Into the danger zone.
Hey, yo. Well, let me tell you something, brother. It's time!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of the Mortal Kayfabe podcast. Streaming on YouTube, streaming on iTunes, streaming on Spotify. And tonight, we have an episode that for some odd reason is just built effing different. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mortal Kayfabe podcast. I am your host, the venomous one, Nick Venom, along with my two good friends, Staggerly Crocker and the man that thinks he could beat me in AEW fight forever, even though he did one time, but we don't talk about it. I give you Dan, the motherfucking man, with us tonight. I say just built different because tonight we have the brand new and new APW Hybrid Champion, Mr. Cody Hawkinz. My man, welcome to the show. From one champ to another, welcome to the show.
Much appreciated, Nick. Thank you for having me on, bro.
As it was a bet, as I told the guys, I said, you know what? Whoever wins the ladder match gets the spot on Kayfabe. That was basically what was going to happen, and boy, it delivered. But yeah, guys, how y'all doing tonight?
Doing good.
Good, man.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, a little sore, but I'm all right.
I'm about to say, I'm sure you're pretty sore after this past Saturday's brutal ladder match.
Yeah, Brutal is taking it lightly.
Sure.
I mean, I only got to put one person through a ladder, and that one was barely hanging on by a thread by the time Pablo Cruz got on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all seen that ladder? That was,
yeah, it was all bent up and all that stuff.
That one ladder took a hip toss.
It
took a hip toss. It took a big Irish whip, and it took Pablo jumping off of it to finally just say, "Yeah, it just doesn't want a ladder today."
Well, you saw the aftermath of Ashton Blake's back. Like his back is all.
Oh yeah, well, that was probably because of me.
Yeah, that one spot. But I mean, he took a beating. That dude took a beating like a champ. I'll tell you that right now.
Says he mollywopped me and Pablo with a chair. What you talking about, fool?
Yeah, but that's true. He did mollywop y'all with the chair. But still in all, he took a big splash from Pablo. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal. That was pretty brutal.
So how's it feel to be the brand new champion after 4 years? 4 years.
You know, quite honestly, having a championship, it's bittersweet. Really.
I see that.
You know, basically got to have the ladder match I never got to have.
Right.
You know, back in, it was like April 22nd, 2019 at House Party, the first ever House Party for APW. Well, yeah, it was March.
It was March.
So, yeah, I was scheduled to go and defend the APW Hybrid Championship in a ladder match against, you know, God rest his soul, Hannibal Jackson. You know, a hell of a guy. He's the man I pinned to win this.
Yeah.
For the very first time in a 5-man eliminator match. You know, it was me, Hannibal, Cold Storm, Mexican Giant, Ray Ortiz. All 5 of us were considered very formidable men to vie for this championship. And to know that, you know, I made history by becoming the first ever. I had a 159-day title reign, losing it to Mexican Giant in a Tijuana strap 4 corners match.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you know, of course, I didn't walk out of that with it. And then not long after that, you know, whenever APW closes doors, this championship had kind of bounced around um, across a couple of federations and was in the hands of Mexican Giant, Jordan Ja. And then not long after that, it became vacated again, which, um, you know, Ashton Blake became the new champion after the return show back in March. Um, I do not feel like I deserve this championship, even though it sits on my shoulder. Because I had multiple chances to win this title.
Right.
I had multiple chances to go for this championship. I lost in the first round of the qualifiers against Mexican Giant. Even though I did get smoked in the face with a chain fist, referee didn't see it. I feel like I got cheated out of that. Then the second opportunity was a battle royal later on that night.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, Pablo Cruz was the one who eliminated me, who threw me over the top rope. So
Remember that.
if anybody had that opportunity and deserved that shot, it was Pablo. I mean, he became number one contender. He fought for that. I mean, yeah, not only is he one half of the tag team champions with the Bayou Cartel, his boy Voodoo, and much respect to both of those men because it takes a good pair of men to go after Team Roll Tide. And they have my respect for that. Because I faced Chucker ever since I broke into the business in 2009, and he never made it easy for me.
Right.
Ever. So my respect
big
goes out
dude,
to Chucker as well. He's
Big
every
cat.
bit as tough as he looks.
Right.
Don't let this man's size fool you. He will run you over like a Mack truck and ask questions later. No, but like I said, the feeling having this championship is bittersweet because once again, I kind of feel like I didn't deserve this opportunity, even though Eddie and Sherry said it all. Looked into the match ledgers from back in 2019, whenever APW closed its doors. And whenever I lost the title to the Mexican Giant, I never invoked my rematch clause. So they stuck to the ledgers. They reinstated that rematch clause, and they threw me into the match. Now, was I expecting it? No, not at all.
Yeah, it came as a shock. I will say that.
Yeah, it
But
was a
originally it was
curveball.
supposed to be Pablo versus Ashton, and then out of
Yeah, and
nowhere,
my honest opinion, I was pulling for Pablo.
yeah.
Because I mean,
And I'm gonna say it.
the enemy
Ashton,
of my enemy is my friend.
Ashton had a pretty good title reign to start it off, though I do see him winning it again in the future. Or really and truly, how can I say this? He's got so much potential with his presence,
Absolutely.
his ring work, all that. The dude's got a great mind. You know what I mean? And he's only like
Absolutely.
20 years old. So the
Like
future's bright for
2021,
this dude.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. The sky's the limit for Ashton Blake. Now, when it comes to getting it off my hands, I'm not just gonna hand it to him.
No, don't do that. Don't just
You
lie on
know,
the man. Don't pull a nitro.
14 years in this business, and not once have I ever laid down for anybody.
Don't do that.
I've always fought. Didn't matter who, big, short or tall, big or small. I fought them all. And win or lose, I get to fight another day. But for the time being, as a two-time APW Hybrid champion, I look forward to defending every show possible.
Yeah.
Like every show, I will have a title defense by hook or by crook.
So
Now,
be bringing back the open challenge. We're
open
doing the
challenge
hybrid
could be potential.
hybrid championship open challenge.
Now, I've had a few ideas. I've made a couple of phone calls. I will be talking to Mr. Senadal and his wife very soon concerning August 26th. Now, if Ashton Blake wants his rematch clause, August 26th, it's like this for a rematch clause by contract, by regulation nowadays, it's supposed to be, within 90 days of losing your championship.
Yeah.
If you lose a title, you've got 90 days to invoke your rematch clause, before it's, kaput.
Right.
Before you don't get that shot again, you got to earn it the hard way, which, you know, once again, it's a contradiction. Because I didn't do that.
Right.
I got thrown into this,
Yeah, because
so
it was announced, and I'm like, well, damn, they pulled in 2019 because that was the last time you had a title match. That's when you
right,
lost the belt. It was March
exactly.
23rd, 2019. I remember that very, very well. And I actually recorded that match. That match was on Facebook Live. I put that on Facebook Live, thinking that it was
Yeah,
going
I
to
do
be
remember you tagging us in it too. Yes.
you against Hannibal, but it ended up becoming you against Mexican Giant in a strap match. And it's like, oh shit, this just got interesting because you're supposed to get a ladder match, but things happen, certain shit happened. We're not gonna get into that. Certain shit happened, and it ended up
Fish
becoming
cleanse gimmicks. Fish cleanse gimmicks, whether it's a chain around the fist or a knuck.
just.
Mexican Giant could never win clean to save his life. Whenever he knows his goose has been cooked, he has to cheat.
Oh, is that
You
a
know,
shoot? Is that a
yeah,
shoot? Oh shit,
maybe.
that's a shoot, cowboy.
So, so, Cody, you said you've been in the business for 14 years.
Yes, sir. I started in 2009.
Yeah, how'd you get started in the business?
I actually found out about professional wrestling through. I know this sounds kind of corny, but my ex-girlfriend's uncle, who just so happens to be Flip the Wolfman Jackson, my first trainer. Um, I was introduced. I got invited to a WrestleMania party at his house while I was
Ooh,
dating his niece. And this was while I was still like a junior in high school, and I see a championship hanging on his wall. And I mean, me being a belt mark and a fan, I seen that, and I was like, "Is that the big gold?" And he's like, "No, hardcore." I'm like, "I'm pretty sure that's the world head, like WCW style world heavyweight championship." He's like, "No, hardcore. The plates are red. Read the letters." I'm like, and it had like the plates were spray painted red, and it had a detachable knuck at the bottom of the belt, and it said "Extreme Hardcore Champion."
oh,
I'm
dear
like,
Jesus.
like, wait, wait, you wrestle? He's like, yeah. I'm like, there's an indie scene out here? He's like, yeah. I'm like, put me in the game, coach. He's like, well, it's like, how old are you? I was like, well, about 18 whenever I met him.
Hell yeah.
And I didn't start training until I was like 20. I was right out of high school. You know, it was the year after I graduated because I graduated in '08.
Yeah.
And
You
'09
graduated
was
before
when
I
I
started high
started.
school.
Like 2009, about February of 2009, I got, my first day of training with Flip and Mad Dog, Stan Sweetan, Trucker Jones. I got to share the ring with all of them. I was very headstrong,
Right.
to say the least. I did a couple rolls, a few bumps, and I was like, all right, let's tie up. And I pointed straight at Trucker. Flip looks at me like, you don't want to do that. I'm like, why not? He's like, you know how to tie up? I'm like, I've got a martial arts background and I know what a collar and elbow tie up is. And yeah, that day I got my ass handed to me in a wet paper sack.
Yeah.
Funny.
And
Now,
then
were
about
you?
a couple years later, my later trainers would be former WWE superstars Rodney, Mack, and Jazz.
Oh,
They
nice.
saw me at a show in Jack Bay at the Jack Bay Fairgrounds for Stan Sweetan. We worked a Carnage for the Cure show, which was his fundraiser for cancer awareness. um, I was like third on the card, and I worked a match for the light heavyweight championship because I was light heavyweight champion at the time. I ended up losing that match to who is now Corey Constantine, your
Ah,
current Pro Wrestling 235 heavyweight champion.
nice.
Yeah, I ended up losing to him. And Rodney, Mack, and Jazz were the match right after me.
Oh shit.
And so, oh, nice. So I come through the curtain before Rodney's music hits. He's like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm like, he's like, "Good job, kid." I'm like, "Thank you, I appreciate it." Nope, not good. Um, so he pulls me to the side, him and Jazz. They're like, "You did good." And I'm like, "I appreciate that, thank you." And this is the day I met Rodney, Jazz, and Blake Dozer. All three of those people played a part in giving me the thick skin that I needed to handle all the BS that comes with, being a rookie in the business. And Lord knows I appreciate them for that. I cannot thank them enough for toughening me up to where I can handle the punishment that this business, comes with.
It can be brutal at times.
Absolutely.
It can be. I
Um,
almost did a tryout over the weekend. I almost did it. The
I
thing
was wondering why
was,
you weren't there, man, because I figured,
well,
just to see what it feels like, man.
Metzger had the idea when he came to the house Friday.
That's good.
Oh boy, Metzger. No, Metzger had an idea to, hey, let's go check out the tryouts to see what's going on with the tryouts. Let's go hang out with the boys as well. And I'm like,
Right.
all right, cool. Let's check it out. So I called up Eddie and said, Eddie, look, we getting VIP tickets, we're getting the table. All right. Is there any possible way we can sneak in earlier than normal to check out the tryouts? Yeah, dude, just don't interfere. I'm like, all right, cool.
Right.
So with that conversation, we landed another conversation to where me, him, and Metzger on a speakerphone. I have on my speakerphone, and basically had a 20-minute to 30-minute conversation saying that, hey, you need to train. You got the charisma, you got the heart for it, you got belts. You love the business.
I could totally see
Right.
Nick. I could totally see you in like a Dewey Donovan, Nick Cage manager role where you're jumping up with a suitcase. Ah!
Not gonna lie, like
modern day Jim Cornette.
not gonna lie. If anything,
Oh boy.
I would like to be a ring announcer. I've always enjoyed like seeing the Dynamite Daves and the Bryce Boudreaux and all that. You know what I mean? Especially Dynamite. Like, dude, Dynamite. Oh my God, he looked like one of those Mexican gangsters.
Honestly, Nick,
With that vest.
I always want to ask you this, Nick. Why not become commentary?
See, that's another thing. That was another thing that I wouldn't mind doing because me and Robbie, we
Don't mind me
commentate.
just smoking a cigar.
Oh no, dude, you're fine. Dude,
I deserve it, damn it.
We've had Beer City Bruiser on the show. All right, so that's
Hey, nothing wrong with a beer though. Hey,
No,
speaking of Metzger, whenever I won that, like at the end of the show, the first thing I see coming to me is Metzger with a PBR.
It's like, yeah, bro, you deserve it. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Like, here you go, bro.
And the
Like,
fact
hey,
we made it
like,
home
I
that night.
just got this belt refurbished, and I want to thank Mr. Richard, an affiliate of ours with APW, who helped restore this belt. Because when we got it back, because it was really tattered. Some of a couple of the rivets from the side plates were gone, missing. The leather was in really bad condition. So I want to thank Mr. Richard for helping repair that belt and making it look like it should.
Yep.
A proper presentation of what the hybrid division is.
Now, let me ask you a quick question. I know you said you broke in the business. You said 2009?
Yes, sir.
Now, were you a wrestling fan as a kid, or was this just something?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I was a fan from, the moment I could start walking and talking. Like I say, around like my earliest memory I can remember right offhand was like I was like 3 or 4 years old. Jumping off the top bunk in the bedroom on my older brother doing elbow drops.
I used to do
smacking my head on the ceiling on the way down.
Is this the belt you're thinking about?
Yeah, that belt, but The one that was hanging on Flip's wall, the plates were sprayed painted red,
Okay.
and they had like black lettering, like extreme hardcore, and they had a detachable nook where the nameplate is.
Oh, that's cool.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, it was
It is.
pretty crafty, because the only way you were able to win the match is if you used the belt as a weapon, whether you hit him with the belt or you take the nook off and hit him with it.
Oh, that's kind of
It was-
cool.
That's
It was a
interesting.
unique rule. It was a unique rule for that hardcore division for Gulf Coast Wrestling at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before it became Gulf States Wrestling, which at that time it was run by Mustang and Psycho Mike, the Dark Alliance, which those were the guys that gave me my first shot
Yeah.
to get in the ring and work live shows by way of the Rocket, Chris Nassau.
Wow.
Now,
Yeah, it was Louisiana Championship Wrestling, September 25th, 2009, about 6 months after I started training.
Jeez, bro.
I know you said you got to share the locker room with Rodney, Mack, and Jazz. Has there been any other wrestlers that you thought were cool in the locker room, like big name wrestlers like that have been in the WWE or anywhere that?
Oh, absolutely, man. I've had the distinct honor of sharing the locker room with quite a few people. Lance Archer, Hardway Rod Price. Let's see, the Rock and Roll Express.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I love those guys to death, and they're
Dude,
the
I bet that's
funniest
cool.
men. Like, we did a triple shot weekend with the Express, and at the end of that triple shot weekend, we were at Flip's house. Big old pot of gumbo, beers out the wazoo,
Typical Louisiana type of stuff.
Dude, that's cool.
talking wrestling stories with the guys. You know, they're like, there was one story about Ric Flair getting so drunk he was wearing a shoe with no sock and a sock with no shoe, and his boxers hanging upside down off of a yacht.
Why does that not surprise me?
That's that. Yeah, I'm about to say that's typical Rick. That sounds like something Rick
sounds
Flair
like
would
Rick.
do.
I was gonna say, doesn't he get too drunk every night?
Well,
That's what
that's
he's
typical Ric Flair. I
Yeah.
mean, there was
Alright.
let's see, the Dysfunction 2018. One of our first won the hybrid championship. We had Simon Gotch in the locker room.
I'm about to
the
say, yeah, how
Vaudevillains.
is he?
Simon Gotch, remind me who that is.
Vaudevillains.
The Vaudevillains,
Oh, yeah.
Before
Yeah,
the
how was he?
Young Bucks did it too, but they kind of did it like
right?
whatever, something like that.
The whole year.
Yeah, the 1950s, like
the high flex.
yeah, the high flex. They had
How
a
was
thing
Him
with,
and Aiden English, yes.
with Aiden English. They also had a thing with
let's see.
Soft.
Shared a locker room with the franchise Shane Douglas.
Ooh, how
Loved
was
sitting
that?
under his learning tree. I've been to a few seminars. I went to one with Percy Pringle, formerly known as Paul Bearer, before he passed away.
Wow.
Hell of a person to sit under a learning tree from. I mean, shoot, the list goes on. Mark Henry out in Texas. That was an awesome experience, actually. This was SWE Fury TV
Yeah.
tapings, and I went out
Yeah.
there for a tryout. Mark Henry was there while overlooking the tryouts with Rodney, Mack, and Jazz and Rod Price.
Doesn't Charlie Haas wrestle for that promotion?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I did get to meet Charlie a couple times, both as a fan and as a worker in the business, and very, very, like, he was a very straight up guy. You know, Charlie Haas is a very straight up man whenever it comes to this business. You know, just like Rodney and Jazz, because they all got into the business around the same time. You know, roughly around the same time within like a 5-year period. Let's see, man, who else can I think of? I mean, there's been a handful.
Man,
There's
I
been a
gotta
handful of,
ask you, how was Shane Douglas, man? Was he cool?
Oh, that's a cool cat right there, man. I liked sitting there chatting with him at it was an APW show. I wasn't booked for it. This was before I started getting booked at APW, like late 2017, early 2018.
I was. I know it was around 2017 in particular.
Yeah, we were working at the Sunset Sportatorium.
Yeah, Sunset.
Wow.
Because I remember Robbie would tell me a lot of stuff about you. And I remember like he would call me one night, dude, you gotta meet this guy. I said, well, what's his name? He's a big wrestling guy. You'll get along with him just fine. It's like, well, what's his name? Cody Hawkinz. I'm like, is he related? And now me being me, the stupid me coming out.
No, not related
Is
to
he
Kurt.
related to Kurt
No.
Hawkins? And
No.
he laughed. He's like,
Nope.
funny.
Nope.
It's like, I figured he was it, but you know. But like he would honestly talk about you all the time to the point he made
We worked together.
Yeah, exactly. And that was another thing that y'all worked together. Y'all he also made a wrestler based off of you in a way, but it was AJ Hawkins. That was his ring name.
Ah.
AJ Hawkins. So at the time, my name was Nick Graves. Oh no, Nick Bowens. But then it became Nick Graves, and now it's Nick Venom, which is by far the best name that I have. And with him has always been AJ Hawkins. And he's like he's also a big fan of like the Danger Zone dude. Chris,
dude.
what's his name?
Where are my manners on this one? My first booking in September of 2009.
Mm-hmm.
I worked double duty. As a matter of fact, I was under a mask in a battle royal. I was the last guy in. I was the first guy thrown out.
Of course.
And then they had me pulling double duty. I worked as a referee for the last couple of matches for that show, including the main event, which was a tag team match between The Rocket and Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Oh, wow.
Versus Sweet Stan Sweetan and One Man Gang.
Wow, that's cool.
Does that have a one man?
Now, I'll have a story about that one there because that show, two things happened to me. Working out in the ring before the show, I dislocated my right shoulder.
Oh, shit.
Put it back in place. Half hour before doors open, Rocket's asking me, hey, you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm all right. And he's like, hey, you got the blood work? I'm like, surprisingly, yes. How about this? I'll get you in the ring tonight. You're going to work live tonight. I'll take care of your license. I'm like, so?
The fact you made Rocket sound like Cartman from South Park, that's awesome.
Oh, no. Oh, hell have no fury than the spot that was actually worked in that show. There was a match between Flip the Wolfman Jackson and Trucker Jones. This was the Mamu Skate Center in Mamu, Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
Trucker put Flip through a burning table. Got the holy shit chant as well as a LCW chant because it was Louisiana Championship Wrestling. After this match, before I was set to go out to referee the main event, Rocket came coming through the curtain. He was mad, bro. He was bored. He's like, Flip. He looks at Flip. He's like, fuck you. Like, Flip's like, what? He's like, you got a holy shit chant, and I didn't. I'm like, okay.
That's good shit. That's good shit.
So that shit happened. But in that tag team match, the spot that I had, because I was the ref that was gonna bump. There was like some turmoil in the match. Everybody came into the ring. Like Rocket was working Stan. Stan was working some heelish stuff. Gang pulled me off to the side to where I couldn't see what was going on. The next thing you know, Duggan runs in. I try to stop Duggan. Gang comes in, starts working the heel stuff on Rocket with Stan. I try to pull Stan and Gang off of Rocket. Stan Irish whips me into One Man Gang's boot. And I take a big, solid, size 15.5 boot to the jaw. And it
messed up your
I cracked my second molar in 3 places.
Jesus.
Like in three different splits. So less than 2 days later, I had to go get that tooth pulled out, and I still have it in the little biohazard little bag from the dentist office. And that's like, yep, my first ever booking, and I got a tooth knocked out dang near.
A little bit of a
So
memento, just got knocked out. Just got my teeth knocked out
yeah,
by the one man gang, It
a
ain't nothing.
dislocated shoulder and a fractured jaw with a broken tooth. Let's
Yeah,
keep this thing going.
it's another day in the office. Here you go.
Another
I'm like,
day in the
shit.
life, right? And
I actually have a
Rocket looks
funny.
at me after the match. He's like, "You all right, buddy?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." One man gang. Even though he's a heel in the business, a very, very kind and generous gentleman. He even came to check up on me and say, "Hey, brother, you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm all right. My jaw's hurting." He's like, "Welcome to the business, kid."
Sounds about right.
And, the rest is history. I've been doing this since then, September 25th, 2009,
Yeah. And
it's
it's
about
about
to
to come
knock
up.
on 14 years I've
Yeah,
been
14
actively
years.
wrestling, but 14 and a half years since I started training.
That's crazy. It's been a long
It's
time already.
yeah, it don't feel like it though.
Yeah.
You know,
And it actually will make
like I said, it's bittersweet, but at the same time very humbling.
it will actually make 5 years since I met you because I met you in August of 2018. It was actually SummerSlam weekend. And that's when GSW used to do the shows doing SummerSlam weekend. It would
New
be,
Iberia?
yeah, in City Park.
Okay.
It was one of the
City
GSW
Park
shows. I
Rec.
don't know exactly which one it was, but I know it was back in 2018 because I went to SmackDown the month after. So this is literally a month before I met my beautiful girlfriend. And it's like Robbie was like, dude, you gotta go check him out. Go check him out. It's all right, cool. I want to see what this man's all about. And sure enough, I forgot who you wrestled, but it is like for the
Said
dude his size.
2018?
Yeah, it was 2018.
Gulf States Wrestling. Let's see.
It
See
was
if I can think
it
that
was
far back.
August of 2018.
August 2018. Oh, okay. I worked a match against Trucker Jones
I knew it was somebody. I
for
knew it was either Trucker
for
Jones or
for what they called the Golden Opportunity match. It was for a shot at any Gulf States Wrestling Tag Team or any GFW championship.
Mhm.
I won via a swanton off the top, which actually bruised my heel
Mhm.
and blew out 4 major blood vessels in my foot.
Ooh.
And I still had to go to work the next day, and
Gotta
having
pay
to
the
work with
bills. You
that
know how that is.
injury and icing it down every day and putting a hot compress on it, making sure, you know, proverbially speaking, staying on my toes,
Shit. Now,
and having to work through that.
with APW being back full time, is for right now is at the Bayou Pigeon Hall. You said next month is moving over to Denham Springs.
Oh no, I didn't say anything about Denham Springs. It's moving to a new venue.
Oh, I heard Denham Springs from other
It's
people.
still gonna no. Like Denham Springs, that's Pro Wrestling 225 territory. They've got the
Yeah,
what is it, the North Park Rec Center,
I
something
think
like that.
so.
They got the rec
Because they got
center.
that,
That's
and they
on
also got the East Side Homa, the East Side Recreation Center in Homa,
yes.
or something
And
like
every
that.
now and again, you'll see them you'll see them in the Copac
Hmm.
at the
Right.
Copac Gym in Plaquemine. But if I'm not mistaken, now all I know is it's still going to be in the Plaquemine area, according to the Facebook page.
Right.
Eddie Said It All had dropped a status earlier this afternoon about it. Because let's just say the Heritage Hall was super,
Oh,
super hot in there.
I'm gonna tell you right now, and I told Meska, like, dude, I'm wearing a muscle shirt. I'm not wearing a damn regular shirt. I'll wear a regular shirt whenever we on our way back home. And sure enough, I mean, we got there. It was hot. Now, mind you, we were already drinking. I was already about maybe 5 or 6 beers deep. Him, he was, I don't know how many beers this dude had. And he's like, dude, don't even try. Don't even try to outdrink me. It's like, Meska, I'm not even trying. I'm just trying to have a good time. I'm trying to have a buzz.
right.
All that shit. So I don't care what you
All
do.
the good
It's
stuff.
fine. Just all I ask, get me home. That's it.
That's
And he
right.
did.
Get me home, brother.
The dude got me home totally fine. We were partying up when we got back to my house. Robbie showed up after, so we were all drinking, having a good time, and it's like shit. And me and Robbie didn't go to bed until like almost 5 o'clock the next morning, just
Can't
playing
go.
old wrestling games and shit. But
Right.
but the thing was, that venue is a great venue, but dude, it's so hot. It is.
Yeah, which
Cruciate.
Eddie and Sherry said it all has been trying to push getting a couple of 3-ton units to keep that venue cool.
That's what I heard.
You
I
know,
heard from one of the fans.
we're trying to basically we're trying to raise the money in order to pay for the units.
Right.
You know, and the shows have been a little on the low number side because it's a very
I
small
noticed there wasn't
town
that many.
outside of Plaquemine, so it's not going to be easy to pull in people
Mhm.
because the city of Plaquemine is quite honestly a pro wrestling 225 based town.
Right.
You know, because of course, you've got two federations that are so close together, and it's not easy to try to run shows, opposite of each other whenever the state commission has so many rules,
And regulations and all that crap.
rules and regulations about running shows so close together. I think one of the rules is you cannot run a show 2 weeks prior or 1 week after of an event that's already been scheduled and paid for and reserved for that date.
Mhm.
So, you know,
Jeez,
but
I had no clue the commissions were that strict on
Oh, yeah.
everything.
Oh, they are.
I just thought they cared about the health bullshit, but about how many times you can promote a show versus another show,
Yeah.
like ridiculous.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
So yeah, and of course, the wrestlers have to do blood work twice a year.
Yep.
Which is like once every 6 months.
And then the female
and that's
wrestlers,
for the
and then the female wrestlers, I'm sure have to get pregnancy tests because that's how it is out here in Missouri.
no, just the blood work.
Oh wow! Because I know for Missouri, every time a woman wrestles, like they have to get tested like once a month or something like that.
No, okay.
Shit.
I might not be
That's
familiar with the rules whenever it pertains to the women's side,
Yeah.
but that's actually a good contingency. Just in case they're working and they might not know that they are pregnant.
I just meant that's such a more added cost to the women to wrestling than the men don't have to do.
Which is true, but the precautions have to be.
Yeah.
You got to be able to make sure
Yeah.
you're in good health, you're in good standing, your blood tests are clear, which we wrestlers in Louisiana have to follow the same blood work as boxers, MMA fighters, martial artists.
Mhm.
In that range to where it creates a blanket of security for the people working in the show, whether you're a referee, a manager, a ring announcer, a wrestler, don't matter. To where it protects us and lets us know that nobody has a blood transferable disease. Like I said, for the safety of everybody involved, fans included. Because if somebody bleeds and some of their blood gets on a fan and somebody pops up and says, I've got Hep C.
hepatitis.
Oh yeah, that it's definitely. I think that blood tests should exist, but I think the commissions go a little too far on everything else. That
The licensing. The licensing is another thing, of course, because you got to do like $25 a year, which I don't mind that. Sometimes the federation will pay for it if you're a mainstay, or I'll just tell some of them, hey, take it out my pay. Thank you.
Yeah, I just meant, for instance, like we had the Abdullah the Butcher giving hepatitis to Hannibal years ago, and so that's a big instance of why blood testing needs to happen.
It's a very serious issue. That can affect somebody's life.
Speaking of Abdullah the Butcher, tomorrow night's episode of Dark Side of the Ring is Abdullah the Butcher, which is going to be very interesting, to say the least.
I watched the last couple of episodes with Matt Bourne or Doink
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That one was good.
I just rewatched that Doink
The
versus.
Graham story was pretty insane.
I just rewatched that.
How about JYD?
Yeah,
What
yeah,
you think about JYD on this one?
I haven't got to
Very
watch that one
shocking.
yet.
Very shocking. And I'm not
I-
going to say another because Dan hasn't watched it yet.
I liked the episode, but I wish they would have went more in depth.
Yeah,
That's how I feel about
they
the
could have been a
Sonny
little
and,
bit more in depth.
Scandino one.
Like Jim Cornette, honestly, I do follow Jim because of the role that he played with Mid South and the Midnight Express. And Jim Cornette was a very major role in Mid South's history, along with Junkyard Dog, which JYD was a hero of mine growing up. I got to meet him a couple of times. Like the last time I got to see him work a show was for they had some guys from Deep South Wrestling and a few other organizations around the area. They had done a show at the Baton Rouge River Center, which is now the Raising Cane's River Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And I got to meet him during an admission. He was like mid-card main event-ish kind of deal. I was ringside, got to get a picture with him, had the Polaroid for years until we lost our home in the fire when I was 17. So a lot of my wrestling memorabilia growing up as a kid was gone.
Yeah.
But that memory still holds true to me, and to know that, some of his students, Rodney, Mack, Jazz, Blake Dozer, rest in peace, Blake Dozer. He was one of my major mentors in the business before he passed away back about 6 months ago in February.
Already?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, 5 months ago. It's been a little over 5 months now.
Yeah.
That was not only was he a mentor to me, but he was like my big brother in the business.
Yeah, because I remember seeing him all the time. Whenever you was wrestling, he was always there. And I remember talking to him a couple of times and all that stuff. He was a really cool dude. And it sucks that he passed
he was
away
trained. He was trained by a dog,
Yeah.
he was trained by a dog, and that's a lot of respect put on him because he was trained tough.
Right.
Along with Rodney, along with Jazz, Mexican Giant as well. He was trained there as well. There was quite a few guys from Louisiana that were trained by a dog, and Hardway Rod Price.
Yeah.
And I've got all the love and respect in the world for Dog Pound, which nowadays Rodney and Jazz are currently living in San Antonio. They run the Dog Pound Wrestling Dojo out in San Antonio.
Right.
They also run Dog Pound Championship Wrestling. They are, Rodney's active on the NWA roster, while Jazz is one of the producers for the women's division matches, if I'm not mistaken.
Which is a good role for her nowadays.
Oh, hell yeah,
Definitely
man.
a good role.
Jazz has given her body to this business just like Rodney still is now. And like people don't understand the physical toll it takes to be a part of professional wrestling. There's countless days on the road, being away from home, family, friends, that sacrifice. Whenever they got their release from WWE in the early 2000s, they started a family. I like their daughters, their twin daughters, love them to death.
Right.
I remember seeing them when they were up to my knee. They were very little. And now they both graduated from the dojo. One's a referee, one's an active wrestler.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
So, fun fact.
It's great.
So, fun fact about Rodney Mack. So, my girlfriend and I, we're big into wrestling. I'm bigger into wrestling. Her dad, on the other hand, used to be, but still watches it. Like, if I watch it, he'll watch it with me. He personally knows Rodney Mack.
Nice.
I think him and his dad.
Hey. Northside High School alumni, baby.
Yeah, him and his dad went to high school together, I think. If I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And all
Northside
that shit.
High School.
So he been knowing Rodney Mack pretty much practically through all of his life. And as a matter of fact, I've thought about having Rodney Mack on the show. I've been wanting to reach out to him. Because he's from Louisiana. You know what I mean? Louisiana people.
I understand.
But Dan's brought in so many good people. He's brought in Kid Cash. He's brought in a few other people as well. I think just Kid Cash though.
I mean, we've had like as far as like, where you talking about
Big names. I think it's just Kid Cash.
I mean, we've had Kid Cash, we've had Beer City Bruiser,
Yeah.
we've had
Sam Stackhouse.
Sam Stackhouse from GCW.
Which mentioning Sam Stackhouse, he's just appearing in an Indy film in Oklahoma.
Yes,
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
He's making some big moves right now. That's a big boy making big moves.
He is such a nice.
He's got the
guy.
Water Kayfabe rub. He's got the Water Kayfabe rub, and now he's going big places. You see what I mean?
Boy is built like a brick shit house, and he can hit you just as hard as one.
That is a big fucking dude. He's got a mohawk. That's a plus.
Like, he's got a body size similar to One Man Gang, if you ask me.
Yeah.
He does.
Definitely.
I think. Yeah, he could play a twin of him.
Right.
I don't think you ever seen One Man Gang pull off moonsaults though.
Yeah, he can pull off
maybe on the old Mid-South tapes.
Maybe.
Like crazy times though.
Speaking of anniversaries and stuff like that, Dan wanted to bring this to fruition. Before we had you on the show, this was kind of a last minute thing. We were going to talk about the 25th anniversary of the Hell in a Cell match between Undertaker and Mankind. Now, Dan had a great idea to talk about it, so Dan, floor's all yours.
Man, we'll just make it really quick. I know we all have our little stories of kind of where we were at and what we were doing at the time. Man, you're the guest on our show, man. What is your memories of that match?
Oh man, I was at my uncle's house actually as a kid watching this. He knew I was a huge fan. Like, matter of fact, he was the one that took me out to the Baton Rouge River Center for that show where I met Dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that wasn't long before he had passed away, coming home from his daughter's graduation.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, because dude, I cried like a baby for 2 weeks, man. That dude was literally a hero of mine. But yeah, I was at my uncle's, and he's like, "Hey, I got the pay-per-view. You want to come watch?" I'm like, I look at my dad. He looks at me. I was like, "Dad, can I say something without getting in trouble?" He's like, "What you mean?" I was like, "Dad, I think you know what I'm about to say." He's like, "You sure about that?" I was like, "Yeah, it's something you say all the time." My dad's like, "Go for it." Does the bear shit in the woods?
I was expecting, oh hell yeah.
That's what I was expecting too.
I was expecting it too.
Like, you want to watch the pay-per-view? Does a bear shit in the woods? Let's go. Yeah, I'm sitting here all hyped up. I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew, literally. That was like my favorite soda at the time. I had like a 2-liter bottle of Mountain Dew.
Jesus.
2 big king-size bags of Andy Cap bacon cheddar fries. And then my uncle threw down on some chili cheese dogs in the process. Like, we were just grubbing it the hell up watching
that man still remembers what he was eating.
Jesus.
Hell yeah.
God damn.
And it had a bag of soft, them big sweet tarts, the big chewy sweet tarts. They're about the size of a 50-cent piece. I remember that because I saved up a good bit of money from cutting grass and washing cars as a kid to make sure, I was like, I even put like $25-$30 to the side from all that to tell my uncle, "Hey, I will pay for this pay-per-view if you bring it to your house." He's like, "Oh, don't worry about that. Keep that." I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm going to grab snacks then," because he had already paid for it. That match, man, that was already a crazy pay-per-view.
Yeah.
That was an insanely mental pay-per-view.
Oh yeah.
And to see that match and to see, what Mankind, Mick Foley went through in that match. I thought he was dead when he got thrown off the top of the ladder. Like, I was like god awful scared. Like, did somebody just die in a wrestling match on live TV? Like, we've already seen one. Like, no, not again. Because we already had the Owen situation.
Well, Well, Owen was a year later.
Yeah,
Owen was
Yeah,
a
Owen
year
was a
later.
year later, But there was also like a British wrestler that I seen on the news that had died in action. Like it was like a worldwide news report about a British wrestler
Oh,
who died
yeah. There's a lot of wrestlers that's died. Mike
like in the
DiBiase
middle
died.
of a match.
Yeah, Mike DiBiase died in the middle of the match. Ted DiBiase's
Pedro,
dad.
what's his name?
Yeah.
The dude that Rey Mysterio 619 and botched it.
Oh, you're talking about Pedro
Pedro.
de Aguayo.
I think so. What's his name
Yeah.
again?
Yeah, Pedro de Aguayo.
Aguero Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pedro de Aguayo Jr. Which that was a badass, bro. I loved watching his work.
Yeah.
Like, hands down, second to none, was a tough, in-your-face guy. But yeah, whenever Foley got thrown off the top of that cell and went to the announce table,
My God, my God.
yeah,
Good God.
like I literally came off my seat. I jumped twice and did this.
Well, Undertaker famously asked Terry Funk to go check if he's dead.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Yeah.
Undertaker thought he was dead.
And
That
then
was like-
they were carting him out. Next thing you know, they were carting him out. As he was getting carted out, he was coming back down the ramp. I'm like, Dad, is this guy on drugs? My dad's like, I don't know, maybe.
And one of the big things that's forgotten, he later comes back later on at the end of the pay-per-view.
Yeah,
Yeah.
during the Stone Cold Kane
First blood.
match.
Right,
This
right.
guy's been through hell and
came
he's still
back
out
and did
there.
the JOB. He came back and still did his job as a run-in, and then, whenever he came back from being on the stretcher, he's like, no, screw this, I'm going to finish this match. He climbed back up the cell,
Yep.
falls through the cell, smacked in the face with a chair. He's got teeth in his nose.
Yeah, that shit was crazy.
I'm like,
Thumbtacks as well.
I love the spot. I love the spot after that when he's in the corner and they're saying that he's smiling, but he's realistically not smiling. He's always gone on record and says he's trying to push his tongue through the hole in his lip, and it makes it look like he's smiling. But hearing JR go, he's smiling, added so much more to that match.
right. It
And
added that crazy psychotic emphasis.
A question you always have to ask yourself, because I know every wrestling fan has thought this internally. How memorable do you think the match would have been if it would have just started in the ring rather than on top? Have you ever really thought?
Honestly, I don't think it would have made a difference if it started in the ring or out on top, because eventually they were going to get to the top of that cell.
Yeah.
You want my honest opinion?
Yeah. Knowing Mick Foley, he would have done something crazy to make it memorable. But when you look back on it now, and probably the 100 times that I have watched it, I look at it and I'm like, what if they were to start it in the inside?
I still have no clue. I still have no clue how Undertaker climbed that ring with the cage with a broken ankle.
Yeah, a broken ankle. Yep.
Yeah, that was and that's one of the things that most people don't talk about. Is what injuries that Undertaker was already sustaining before this match.
Well, and if you look at the cage at that time, they don't have the big holes cut in it.
Well, those holes are more for the camera, actually.
Yeah, it was more for the camera.
Right.
Well, yes, I understand that, but at that time they didn't.
Yeah.
So if you watch it now, they scale up it no problem.
Yeah.
Back then there was effort put in, and especially
they actually had to climb,
especially a guy of Mick.
Yeah, they had the hard way up the side of that cell.
Yeah,
dude, and Mick Foley's not a small guy.
It was freaking industrial zip ties holding that cage together.
Oh, yeah.
Like the fencing.
Yeah, because you can see him pop.
Like you'll see him take a couple of steps, and you see like zip ties going.
Bing, 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 bing.
So,
Ricochet off the damn cell or some shit.
So really quick, I didn't get to see that match live.
Yeah, I didn't
when
either.
I was young.
I think I rented it from Blockbuster.
I didn't even get that. So when I was that age, I lived in a trailer park in Huffman. So my family was very low income, yada yada. The only time I could ever watch Raw was going over to my friend Kyle's in his double wide trailer in the trailer park. So I remember just catching the highlights on Raw the night after when they would do like the JVC Kaboom box and it would show the highlights and the still images. But I remember going back. I remember going back, and my parents let me rent the videotape at Hollywood Video. I remember watching that match, and I swear to God, man, I had goosebumps and I had the shakes the whole time.
Right.
I was just so captivated by that match.
Blockbuster, like Hollywood Video, and there was a place called Family Video.
Yep.
I rented out every like wrestling tape I could get back then. That was the original WWE Network.
Yeah.
Yep.
Blockbuster was the original WWE Network. I remember that shit very well.
Yeah, 'cause anytime I would have money saved up, I would either rent the tapes or buy the tapes.
Yeah.
So I had a pretty decent collection growing up as a teenager. Like I had at least 2 big 50-gallon totes full of VHSs or DVDs.
Jeez.
You know.
Wow.
Oh, like I had figures, like like the little toy belts, the whole nine. I had like 4 different rings.
Yeah.
I even had the Titantron set up.
Yep.
Oh God.
Yep.
Oh.
Like where the little figures that had the little
magnet thing, and you stick it, and it played wherever
it plays the music.
Oh God, I envy you, bro.
Hold on, Nick. What did it say when you put the now walking through the Titantron?
Now entering the Titantron.
That's it.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Man, and it had the 8 pictures of the wrestlers.
It was like
it would light
Taker,
up.
Rock, Stone Cold,
Austin, Vince, Goldust,
Val Venus,
wow.
Edge, Christian.
Talk about ridiculous figures. Remember the sweating ones?
Oh God!
The ones that would sweat, then you throw them sweater, the maximum sweat.
Maximum sweat. I actually have the Kane one. I have a Kane figure.
I got one even more.
Thanks to Mike.
I got one even more stupider. Do you remember the spin-off series called Stomp, where it was the WWF figures, but they were like G.I. Joes?
Yeah.
And fucking Austin's face, he looked like the fucking horror character Nosferatu. They were horrible.
I gotta go fight off a bunch of damn stuff.
Yeah, fight off goddamn sea terrorist.
I gotta fight off a goddamn sea terrorist. If you want Stone Cold Steve Austin, then give a damn stunner to a shark. Give me a hell yeah.
Oh,
shoot. Let's see. Old school toys, man. Like they have like the both the WCW and the WWF at the time.
I know what you're talking about.
The microphones.
Oh my God, yes.
What?
And you like it had a button for like 3 or 4 different wrestlers. Like there was Sting, Kevin Nash, Goldberg, and Scott Hall.
Yeah,
might have been. No, it was Diamond Dallas Page.
Yes,
there was 4 wrestlers, 4 buttons.
That's not the vibrating Sting, is it?
Huh?
Is that the vibrating Sting?
No, it doesn't have a button, but I was about to get to that.
Vibrating Sting.
Yeah, they had the WCW figures that had the red button on the side, and they just vibrated. It was stupid.
It was 97 or 96.
Okay, then.
WCW decided they had an idea.
Yeah, WCW had some weird figures.
Gotta be Jack Pacific.
This wasn't Jack Pacific. This was
San Francisco Toy Makers.
Yeah,
it wasn't Mattel either. It was San Francisco Toys.
It was San Francisco.
San Fran.
I remember the same company that made the ECW ones.
I remember specifically getting a Lex Luger figure, and I'm thinking like, this is very cool because I have a vibrate. Now, mind you, I'm 5 years old. Like I don't know anything about anything. This is like, hey, it's vibrating. It's pretty badass. It's actually moving. Lo and behold, later on down, I'm watching Wrestling with Regret, and I'm watching it, and it's like, oh,
I love that show.
if you press the red button, it vibrates, and it's like, oh, well, don't give it to a woman. You know what I'm saying? It's like shit. Don't give it to a woman.
No, they got the PlayStation controller for that.
That too. But that was by far the most obscure type of wrestling figures.
I got something that none of you guys probably owned. I'll have to drop my the WWF Action Cam. It was a digital camera.
God!
So
it worked horribly on the computer, but I owned it. I got it for Christmas one year.
Hold on. I'm going to show y'all something that I know y'all didn't have. Hold on, let me pull it up really quick. Hold on.
But
While you do that,
this camera
had...
was a camera that you were supposed to take your photo with. You could edit yourself into like the WWF ring. You basically could do stuff that you could do nowadays on like Snapchat and everything.
Yeah, it's basically like
I do remember the commercials they had for that.
Yeah,
dude, you remember the SmackDown ring set with the scaffold and like the little like the jumbotron or whatever?
Yes,
right.
The scoreboard. I had that. I had
Nice.
that. The Wars. Is it the Monster Rank series? But I had the Warzone one.
yeah.
that's the one I had.
That's a good one.
I had the talking WCW ring. There was a
That's like the Nitro
ring
set with the Nitro set?
that made theme songs and everything. I think it was.
Was that the one with the Nitro set too?
Yeah.
So
It was a Nitro set.
that was one of my most favorite figures that I had, right?
I had that figure.
So the most obscure thing I ever had, and I took this to school with me every day. I used to have, do you remember those Tamagotchis that you would feed the little animal every day?
Yeah, I had one of those too. The WWF ones.
Yes. So you can either pick Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels, or Kane. And you picked them, you trained them, you fed them, you put them to sleep, right? So every day I would go to school, and I was a huge fucking Kane mark back then. And I would make sure I had to feed Kane on time and train him. Oh, dude.
Could you imagine if you tried to train Stone Cold Steve Austin? All right, Stone Cold, what you eat? Well, damn it, son. I need to train to get my stuff going. What?
So, Dan, the real question is,
Where's my bear? What?
Dan,
bear?
The real question is, did you kill Kane in the end?
I probably did, because the batteries ran out and I never did it again.
Oh, God. But no, so getting to my story of Hell in a Cell with Mick Foley and Undertaker, or Mankind Undertaker. I actually brought this up to Mick Foley because I met him this February, as a matter of fact, at Comic-Con. And funny thing was, y'all watched it back in the day. See, me, I'm 29, right? Everybody's in here is older than me. And I never got a chance to actually watch this match at all until I got my very first iPhone. And I remember going on YouTube and someone told me, check out Mankind versus Undertaker, Hell in a Cell. I've always heard about it. I've always saw clips of it, but never watched the full match. Right? And for some reason, I never rented it at Blockbuster. Never rented it at Hollywood Movies or whatever. Whatever the case may be. So sitting down, actually watching that match, like, and me being a deathmatch type of guy, can withstand the hardcore stuff and all that, that gave me chills.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a man getting thrown off a 16-foot cell. 16-foot cell.
Twice.
And hit, yeah, not once, but twice. And it's like, how is this man still going? How is this man? Any normal man, he'd be freaking paralyzed. But for some reason, Mick Foley, one ear. What else he freaking had? Half his teeth. That man is the devil. All that. This match in particular, in my honest opinion, I told this to him. This match, I felt, made you a superstar, a megastar, if you will. All right, Bray Wyatt with his cigarette. Or cigar. I don't know if you smoke. What did you smoke? A cigar
shot.
Are you doing
I like the flavor.
I just think it's hilarious, and I just see a red flicker on a black screen.
More to Kayfabe. We're here.
There you go. Speaking of Dylan, man, I would love to see that guy come back, but Lord knows what's going on with him. With
I don't see him coming back right now. I don't. They're saying, oh, he's coming back with the same gimmick. Now he's coming back as the Fiend. WWE put the Fiend on the official website.
Okay.
They rend a render of him as the Fiend. No.
I hate to say it, but I've lost all hope in Bray Wyatt.
Honestly, I think the Fiend character's kind of dead.
It's just
it's either going to have to be drastically reinvented, or he's going to have to make a new gimmick.
Or let me reiterate, I haven't lost all my faith in Bray Wyatt personally. I've lost all my faith in the people that book Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, that.
That's
Creative.
the thing.
Yeah, creative.
It's not
let me
Bray.
just
It's
say
the
that.
people in creative that
Yeah, like my idea of the Fiend being dead is not the Fiend is not Bray Wyatt's fault. It's creative with bad booking.
it's bad book.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, the whole Wyatt 6 thing was supposed to be like better than the Bloodline. Unfortunately, that did not happen. That didn't happen at all. So, what's next for Bray Wyatt? I mean, apparently he's still injured, right? He's still injured, and WWE doesn't know what to do with him.
Boy, I know it's next for somebody. Yeah, that boy winning that U.S. belt.
You know what? I'm gonna go to record right there.
Thankfully, you didn't get dragged down by that pitch black match.
Thank God.
I know.
Right.
Thank God.
Right.
That boy
That dude's
is
one of
going
the top
to have
sellers right now in
gold.
WWE.
SummerSlam, he will win that belt. I
Give
fucking
him
hope
against
so.
Austin Theory. He's winning it. I'm calling it right now. I'm not getting my hopes up because the last time I got my hopes up with LA Knight, he lost the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Money in the Bank, yeah. Dude, did you see Kevin Nash fucking trashing him, saying that he's nothing but a
fuck
Rock
Kevin Nash for
ripoff?
that.
Fuck that, dude.
Kevin Nash has now stated Kevin Nash has now stated that he didn't recognize him. Kevin Nash is playing it off like he doesn't know LA Knight. Like,
Oh, shut the fuck up, Nash.
Dude, like, yeah, really. Like,
There's an old saying that goes, excuses are like assholes. Everybody's got one and they're all full of shit.
Yep.
I mean, he's got more excuse than a woman with a dick. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, my 3-year-old daughter, bro, runs around the house going, LA Knight, yeah.
I see her with a little belt collection. I see her with an IC title and the Universal title.
Yeah, dude, I got her 3 of those belts for $5.
That's not bad. That's pretty badass.
Yeah, this lady, I was just gonna buy one on Facebook Marketplace. She's like, you can have all 3 of them for $5. Just come pick them up. I'm like, oh, bet.
Word.
That's not bad at all.
Those belts seem a little bit better made than when I was a kid.
We all were a kid.
Yeah.
The foam belts. Oh,
those
God.
foam belts from like 1998 and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember getting one.
I can agree on that.
I remember getting one from a WWF live show, and it fell apart like in a week or two.
Dude.
Yeah.
Hey, in 92, I still remember this. No, it would have been 90 because it was right when Warrior won the belt from Hogan. So everything was marketed around Warrior. I remember my grandma got me the foam winged eagle belt, and it had Warrior on the front of the box, man. And yeah, that was my earliest memory of a foam belt.
I know. I got the big eagle belt whenever I had turned 5. And I remember getting the Stone Cold Steve Austin, like it was a blow up, not blow up doll. It was a blow up, like one of those punching bags.
Oh yeah, I remember it.
Would you put sand in it? And all
Yeah,
that stuff?
I remember it was blue with it was like blue background. I remember that thing.
It was so badass. And
Nick, is this the belt you had?
Yes, that's the belt I had. That's the foam belt I had. That was my very first one and my only one I had until I started belt collecting.
Oh, I'm going to show you the one I had, Bubba.
So, yeah, I remember getting that belt in particular. Oh, that's sick.
That's the Hulk Hogan foam belt.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, that belt didn't last long at all.
My personal favorite, though, when it came to like WWF tours, were the wrestling buddies.
Oh
yes.
I had Hogan, Warrior, and Savage.
Yeah, I didn't own the WWF ones. I owned the WCW knockoff ones.
That's what I did too.
I wore them things stupid thin. I wore them out so bad.
Look, that's the one that I had.
But
that sounds about right. You would have that belt.
On the WCW wrestling buddy things, I had Randy Savage, Goldberg, Sting, and maybe Kevin Nash. I don't know.
Which Sting you had?
Black and white.
I had Wolfpack.
See, I had black and white. I
had the DDP one too.
I almost had a DDP one. I had a Hollywood Hogan, Macho Man, Randy Savage, and a Sting. And I still have them to this day. They're in the closet and they need to be washed because
I wish I
it's been
still
stuck in
had
the
my.
closet for so many years.
'Cause I had like the big figures, like they were the Stretch Armstrong edition figures.
Yes, I
I
I
remember
had
those.
Sting,
I've no
Hollywood
memory of
Hogan,
this.
and Lex Luger.
I tell you what, before we wrap up the show, this is one of my prized possessions, and I got this from Mustang Mike. Shout out to Mustang Mike, by the way. But the Smash and Slam series from WCW is always a personal favorite figure line of mine. And I remember trying to find a Scott Hall. But all they had was the red one, the red and black. But I ended up getting the white
Yeah,
and black.
Those
I
are
re-
still
yeah, I remember having that wrestling figure as a kid, and I really loved that
Like
he had the Sting
just
mask.
the design of it, in my opinion.
those are still the best WCW figures made.
by far. When you look at WCW figures
Hands
in
down.
particular, these are the best ones.
I-
You
is
can't
that-
get any better than that. The
is-
way how they look, the way how they were made. I mean,
Is that one? Are those the ones made by Marvel?
Yes.
no, Toy Biz.
Oh, okay.
Well,
That,
TNA
Marvel is
was
toy.
made.
No, Marvel is
TNA
toy. Marvel
Marvel
is toy.
was Toy Biz.
Yeah, Marvel is toy biz.
Yeah.
They're the same
Yeah,
thing.
you're right. But
That's
yeah,
why
I
the
remember
TNA
having.
figures are those.
I remember having DDP in particular. DDP, Randy Savage, Hollywood Hogan. Like literally, I had all these dudes. I had all the collection. I had all of it. Like this is by far my all-time favorite figure line. Like it was just look at the design. The design of it
I had
looks
all
so fantastic. You don't see that nowadays. All you see is a big box. Like, I mean, I have the Bray Wyatt. I have a Fiend figure up there and all that shit. And it's like just the design of it, the way how it looks. Like it just looks fantastic, man. Like I
Hey,
love this.
Hey Cody,
looks
do you
great.
remember? You remember the bone crunching action figures?
Yes.
You take their little knees and you hear the little.
Yeah. Oh man, I had cousins who had those. I didn't get to get those growing up, but
Yeah, I had the
I had
Bone Crusher
cousins who
figures,
had 'em.
too.
But yeah, my memory of the Hell in a Cell, I didn't get to see it for months after because I couldn't afford pay-per-views.
Yeah.
My first pay-per-view I ordered was Anarchy Rules '99 ECW, and that was mostly because it was $20 rather than the $30 I think WCW and WWE was.
It's like
Yeah.
$39.99, $49.99, somewhere around
$39.95.
there.
$39.95.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I couldn't remember. I
Right.
thought it was, but I thought at one time it was like $30, and then it went up to 35, and then.
Nope, it was always $39.95.
Oh, okay. Well, ECW was like $20 cheaper. I'm like, oh, I'll go with ECW.
I mean, even though they did have a good quality event, though.
Yeah, it was a great event. I'd never
For
really.
what it was worth.
At that time, I had never seen ECW at that time. I
Yeah.
just heard about it.
Yeah, I didn't watch ECW till like towards the end of it when like it was right before Mike Awesome went to WCW. And it's like I've for some reason, I don't know why, but I just love Mike Awesome. I love his time in ECW. Like I didn't really have a chance to actually watch. I've heard of it, but it's like at my dad's house I'm gonna watch it because my dad was like, "Hey, you can watch ECW, just don't tell your mom." All right, cool. I'm game. Let's check this out. And I remember watching him against Tanaka. Their matches. Oh my god! Even the one night stand. Even the one night stand from 05 was insane.
Masada Tanaka is still
absolutely, dude.
Masada Tanaka is still wrestling to this day.
Yeah, to this very day, he's still.
Still a bad son of a bitch too.
I just saw that he's going to be out here in a few months.
Go meet him, Joey. No, you want
What?
to. Go meet the man. Have him sign your ECW belt, even though he never won the belt. But we'll just...
Yeah, he did.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He beat Mike Awesome for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Shit.
Because he was champ. I
Yeah, my
know.
bad, my
I
bad.
think. I think he won it once or
text me the
twice
comment.
because I know in 2000 he was the champ for a short period of time.
Yeah. Because it was right before, I want to say Jerry Lynn won the title at that point.
Yeah.
I want to say, I don't know who took the belt off of Tanaka, but I want to say, I don't know who took the belt off of him.
Dude, you're talking about Tanaka and Awesome, man. I'm going back through Mike Awesome shit in FMW right now.
Oh
Yeah, I
shit!
was about to ask you about FMW days. Like how many of y'all kept track of FMW in the '90s?
Well, I could speak probably for all of us and say none of us did.
No.
I didn't know anything about it until
Well, I
I
knew
got.
I mean,
Hayabusa was in
no.
it.
Granted, I'm 34 years old.
Yeah. Now
I'm
So
almost 40, bro.
I might have got into FMW around 2003. I got into tape trading at the dying end of it, basically.
Yeah.
Because I used to have like 400 DVDs due to tape trading. That's how I got into ROH and CZW and
Bro,
FMW and all
Nick,
that.
Nick, and he's not lying, dude. When me and him first started talking, he sent me a fucking, I still have it, Joey, a CD book with like 300 DVDs in it.
This is
damn.
this is an FMW program from
Program.
1996.
Look at that.
Bro, that was like a freaking manga. It was like a manga book.
Yeah.
And remember, you got to read it back to front, right to left.
Yeah. I'm learning that right now because I'm actually reading some mangas myself. I'm doing some Dragon Ball Z.
Like I was actually speaking of like Japanese. I would love to learn the language
Yeah.
because
Oh
if at
shit.
any time me and Colt Storm are sharing a locker room, we can shoot the shit in Japanese because he speaks pretty fluent Japanese.
Hey, you know how we were saying that the big guests that we have on, you know who we completely forgot about? Madman Pondo.
Yeah.
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 Pondo.
Pondo, oh my
Dude.
god, Pondo was freaking awesome.
But like,
matter of fact, I have a small story about that
That's
one
sick,
about
Joey.
meeting Madman Pondo. Like, I was at the Gathering of the Juggalos in 2010, 2011. I went
Killer.
2 years, and Madman Pondo was on the primary card of Bloody Mania.
Yep, JCW.
Yeah, for JCW. And I was lucky enough to get to the barricades ringside during his match against Corporal Robinson. Which, if anything, in JCW, Corporal Robinson had the best entrance music ever. Violent J's,
wrong.
I Get Mad.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Corporal Robinson Leatherface in FMW? Joey, research that because I swear to God,
Yeah, Google that.
I may be wrong, but I think I'm right.
no.
Because
But
wasn't
the
a
match
former
between
WWE?
He came up in IWA Mid South. It says so, and he's never been in FMW.
Okay.
But yeah, I was at the Blood Mania show whenever Pondo worked Corporal Robinson, like semi-main. Corporal had just dropped the JCW heavyweight title. I'm trying to remember who. I think it was Congo Kong he lost to, like a couple months prior. So Congo Kong was JCW heavyweight champion. This was basically a number one contenders match. And sitting ringside watching this match, I already had a sprained ankle from, fucking around and finding out at the gathering, making a mess of myself.
Was still bad.
And so there was an old feller that, like, I was passing by. I had a really bad limp because I really torqued my ankle. This was like day 2, day 3 of the gathering that I was there for. And he's like, this old fella in a old like '83 Winnebago looks at me. He's like, "Hey kid, you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay. Just kind of jacked up my ankle a bit." Yeah, I can fucking tell. Here, look, I got something for you. So he goes into his Winnebago, and he grabs these old, decrepit wooden crutches.
Oh god.
He's like, "Here, I don't need these anymore. You can have them." I'm like, "Word?" He's like, "Yeah, man, you're good. Don't worry about that." It's like, look, you know what? I don't care what anybody says. You may be an old coot, but you're the coolest old coot I've ever met in this gathering. He gave me a whoop whoop and sent me on my way.
There you
go. And going into that match, I was trying to get to the ringside with these crutches because I really messed up my ankle. They're fighting on the outside, and I go and I put my hand out, and I've got the crutch in my hand. I'm going, yeah, get him, get him. The next thing you know, Pondo snags the freaking wooden crutch out of my hand. I'm like, oh shit, yeah. And he starts whopping up Corporal Robinson with this old beat up wooden crutch. Like it looked like it was barely hanging on by the butterfly wing nuts and everything. And yeah, that was quite a moment. I tried to get like fragments of it to try to get Pondo and Corporal to sign it after the show. Never got to see him though. Never had the opportunity. But that moment there at the gathering for Bloody Mania was probably one of the coolest memories I have of Madman Pondo.
Yeah, he was such a nice dude.
Yeah, he
really
Oh, hell of a guy.
Oh God, like from the moment we started filming, we was talking and talking.
Yeah.
Hey, if you want me to stop talking, just let me know. It's like, dude, you're doing great. We don't have to do anything. Just keep talking, brother. Just do what you gotta do. And I mean, he kept going on and on and on. And it's like, I clicked with them because I have a thing for horror movies. And he had just gotten watching The Boogeyman at the time. And I actually saw The Boogeyman recently and just really fell in love with the movie. The movie was great. But scary as shit, by the way. But yeah, we were on there for almost 2 hours.
Almost 2 hours.
Almost. I think so far our longest episode is wrestling. Wrestling holds that record for a year and a half because it's clocking in 2 hours. And ever since then, and I've told Dan this, we got to have somebody that's going to beat our record. We got to have somebody got to beat Breslин's record. That way I can be like, hey, Breslin, you don't have the longest episode no more, bitch. So
Dan, you were thinking of Corporal Kirshner.
That's it. Okay.
So, all right. Well, any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
Wrap your tool.
Yeah, wrap your tool, you fool.
Don't. The American Dream Death Row says, "Don't be silly. Wrap your willy, baby."
Let me tell you something right now, baby. Let me tell you something. Right here, the American Dream Death Row, baby. Let me tell you something. You better wrap that willy, but I can't do it now.
We were talking. I think it was last week or week before last, and not to stray off into that thing. I still think his coolest promo is when he was doing the Dusty Rhodes taco shop.
Yeah, I just saw.
Yeah,
I love it.
That was good shit.
I love it.
Or the pizza delivery service that he did.
My favorite one was the garbage truck one. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
it's out there. Oh, let me show you my trick, my Americana hook shot. And he literally puts the damn garbage can on the shoulder. It just does it like that. It's hilarious and shit. And he's talking to the other guy, like the other guy knows Dusty. It's like, I don't think he knows Dusty. But okay, whatever. So, but yeah. Once again, this is going to conclude our show. I want to thank the one, the only, just built, different, your brand new APW Hyper Champion. And at this point, I want to pass on to you. Where can we find you before we wrap this up, by the way? Where can we find you?
Of course, y'all can find me on Facebook. Yeah, you can find me on Facebook at Just Built Different Cody Hawkinz. You can find me also on Instagram at Hawkinz. That's Hawkinz, not an S. Please make it a Z. Hawkinz88. I am also on TikTok at Just Built Different.
Follow him.
You will also find me 3 or 4 days a week on WGS TV on Twitch with the Wrestle Gamer Billy Bujo doing live reactions of Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, Dynamite Collision, Tokyo Joshi, New Japan, Game Changer Wrestling, Choco Wrestling, any wrestling that happens around the area, and we can catch wind of it. We usually do live reactions all week long. And also August 26th, if you check out Action Packed Wrestling's Facebook page, they will be updating the fans as to where the show is going to be on August 26th because we are moving venues. I mean, look, that show Saturday night was hot. So we're trying to get to a venue where it's not as hot. We're going to have air conditioning. Don't worry. We will be back in the Bayou Pigeon Heritage Hall as soon as the cold months set in.
Dude, not only that, all my belts, once we left the show, all of them were moist.
Oh,
That's how hot the bitch was.
And make sure not to keep those in a belt if they're moist, because I've heard stories of people with mold on their belts before.
Yep.
Yeah. Always
That was another
always dry off that leather and keep them in a cool, dry place as much as you can.
I keep them in the house, so.
Always care for that belt, baby. And look, yeah, I want to show y'all. Like before we got this championship back, it was a little tattered. We got new leather on this bad boy.
I see that.
Nice, pretty leather. We got
that snake skin. No, not snake
that
skin.
new skin on the back, baby.
Oh,
Love it. Shout out to Mr. Richard, a close friend of Action Pack Wrestling, for helping us restore this belt and bringing it back to its original glory, the way it should be.
I need to get with him about this belt in particular, because this belt, it's seen as better
It's
days.
seen better days.
Which is great, but like it's starting to peel a little bit.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, he'd be able to do that for you, no problem.
And
Just
like
hit him up.
couple of the jewels, I think it's best. Oh no.
hey, Cody, I love the red.
Yeah, the red
Oh,
looks
yeah.
nice.
Oh, the red on the World Heavyweight Championship was a really good touch.
Yes.
So with it, you know what? Dan wants to pull out his belt. I'm gonna pull out my belt.
Hey, I'm buying that IWGP US belt, bro.
You need to.
Oh.
That way we can complete. Joey needs to get I don't know what's the IWGP belt he will want to get.
He can get the junior tag team titles.
Anyway, with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in to another brand new episode of the Kayfabe Podcast. If you like what you see, if you want to stay up to date with our stuff, head on over to youtube.com/What a Kayfabe Podcast. Hit that subscribe button. Also, smash the notification bell. That way you don't miss any of our content whenever we upload a video. Again, I want to say a special thank you to Just Built Different. Being a man of my word. Because he won the match. Not only won the title, but he won a spot on What a Kayfabe Podcast. I actually like doing it. That's actually a pretty good concept. I didn't think it was going to work out.
Oh, heck yeah, man. Anytime a title changes hands, why not? Give him a shout out, put him like an indie spotlight. Why not?
I mean, that's, shit. It worked on Sam Stackhouse. He's doing good shit right now.
Yeah, now he's doing fucking movies because of us.
Exactly. We're almost getting close to 200 subscribers, and we're getting close to the road to episode 100. 100 episodes, guys. We're doing 100 episodes. It's insane. Last time we had Cody on the show was an absolute shit show. It was bonkers because we had Cody on the
all
show,
over the place.
Robbie on the show, and then for some reason, this is when Davey was not a part of the What a Kayfabe family. He just came in out of nowhere, and it's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? So now we finally got Cody on the show by himself. So please check him out. He's an awesome dude. Great stuff. Can't miss out. And again, once again, thank you for watching our show. And with that being said, this is the Venomous One, Nick Venom, my two good friends, Staggerly Crocker and Danny Mother Effing Kayfabe, and we are out of here. Oh Lord, spit on the mic. Crocker hit that beat.
And the mind, make me happy. Oh, baby, be mine.
Can I tell you something as a friend? No, can I tell you something as a friend?
Yes.
Come on in if you would, please. You're the shits. You really are. You're the worst I heard.